Quintel Langford with Creative Brew. We're here at Panels in Oceanside, California. And today we're going to interview two special guests. Like I said, I'm working on, as far as even giving out creative inspiration and motivation for all my creatives. I want to be able to highlight various creatives in the industry and in various industries, and really see what their journey is, see what they're doing. So today we have Brandon and Alex with StoryTape, and I'll let them sort of introduce themselves and what they do. So you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Brandon and this is Alex. We work with a subscription-based stock footage company called StoryTape. And yeah, we've just been trying to like build up a catalog the past 6 months or so. So we've been traveling all over the place. We went to Iceland, Switzerland, Ireland, California now. So yeah.
Yeah, we committed to release 1,000 new clips a month to our subscribers. Which,
wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty.
It's a pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty.
It's aggressive.
Aggressive goal. And so to get 1,000 quality clips every month, it involves traveling to different places, different climates, geography that we don't have. Aerial footage is what we're specializing in right now. Brandon and I are piloting a drone down here in California, so aerial footage is in really high demand. So that's why we travel, just to see different types of landscape. We were in the desert yesterday, and now we're on the coast today, and like Brandon said, Switzerland, Iceland, Ireland, all these different countries. So
okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So as far as I dabble a little bit into photography. I know you're way more experienced than I am. Do you find yourself, even when you're doing getting certain takes, do you find yourself sort of creating, trying to figure out, in your mind, like what's your process as far as creating, getting the right shot? Is there a certain process you use, or?
Yeah, it really depends on what we're doing.
Okay.
Like with filming with drones is way different than filming with handheld. It's way different, and then even handheld, are using stabilization. What's the scene look like? All these sorts of things. So, like our primary goal is to create footage that is eye-catching, and and also like kind of communicate something. Isn't just a random, like there's a lot of stock video out there that's just like trash. It's like like a woman laughing in front of a white background. It's like that's not in the world. Like no one has ever done that. And so we're just trying to find creative ways to make useful stock footage.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and the way we shoot is very unique. We won't shoot 5 clips of one subject or 10 clips of one subject. We release footage in scenes.
Okay.
So generally around 100 clips, that's our goal of one scene.
Yeah.
And so that way our customers can build a narrative out of that scene, as opposed to picking one clip from here and one clip from here, one clip from here. They have 100 clips of this person doing X, or 100 clips that we just filmed of surfers at the beach.
Yeah.
And so planning our shoots, we have to be very intentional going in, knowing that our goal is to come out with 100 clips that we're going to keep.
Yeah.
And so especially for our lifestyle shoots, our handheld shoots, it involves a lot of planning, some storyboarding even.
Yeah.
The landscape stuff we're doing with the drone is a little different. We kind of just show up to our location and we do some pre-scouting as best as we can, but you never really.
Who do you? And I know we sort of talked about it a little bit. Who do you usually cater towards with the subscription service? Is there people in specific that you're catering towards right now, and is there people that you would like to target more?
Yeah. So our kind of like existing audience with our parent company is mostly like church media creatives.
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of the world that we had started this into, and we love them and love that world, and we want to help them service that, but there's so much beyond it. And so our next few steps and what we've already been doing has been doing like these webinars of teaching people how to use video to further their business, and those people are usually like media agencies and creative agencies that might be set up in a town like this, who the city comes to them and says like, hey, we're doing like a campaign for a new fun run that's coming up, and can you do like a Instagram video for us, or can you do a Facebook campaign, set up a website, and then we'll have some of our footage might help to make that an easier process for them, where they're not having to go out and fly a drone over the city. They're not having to get stuff on the air. They're not having to film, a marathon already. We have got it for you, and you can just kind of use that footage and tell your story with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as far as what I've seen some of the images and things that you've captured. What's been the hardest? What's been some of the hardest shots to take in your, as far as in your perspective? What has been the really the hardest shots to take?
Oh man,
It's a good question. We've found as we've grown as a team and started, developing this repertoire that we have, that we all kind of have strengths and weaknesses. And so there's a guy on our team who's just really good at filming abstract stuff. So like just the weirdest stuff you've ever seen. None of it makes any sense. He ruins the studio to do it, but his brain just works that way. And so if you were to ask me to film an abstract scene, I'd be lost.
Yeah.
But yes, Tristan, and he's got magnetic ink, and he's got things burning on fire, and he's just
he's got a synthesizer and a busted up amp and a pile of sand.
Exactly.
We're like,
exactly. So we've found
the studio's in shambles.
It is, and he leaves it for someone else to clean up. But it's like we're finding that we have so many things to accomplish. We have so many things we want to film that we kind of have to stay in our own lane, our own creative strength, and just stay in that lane and because working outside of the scope of where our creativity naturally lies has been really tough. Yeah. And so we've kind of all had to be a little bit self-aware, like where am I strong creatively? Yeah. And focus on that stuff.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a real interesting point, and something that I try to talk to a lot of people about is really trying to create that self-awareness of where you are especially as a creative. What your strengths are, because like I said, even with me, I'm more into design and branding. But I know there may be certain things that I know I may not be as strong at in certain aspects, and really just trying to create that awareness of where who I am and what my strongest points are, my strongest strengths, and really doubling down on that. And and give really and honestly, I think a lot of creatives tend to have that trouble as far as giving up that control and saying, "Look, you can do this, and I know this is not my strength. I'm gonna let you run with it," and that could be hard for a lot of creatives, is giving up that control, because we want to be able to do it all. And I think it's really just creating that awareness that knowing that we can't, and just really just double down on our strengths. So
for sure.
Great point. That's a great point. As far as really, then I think that's really the biggest things. What's been some of your even as creatives yourselves, what's been some of the pitfalls? What's been certain failures that feel like, man, why did I even do this? I know I've had those kind of failures before. Is there anything that comes to mind, or certain? Like I said, you don't have to go in specific, but is there certain things you feel like that even though you had that pitfall, it made you a stronger creative?
Totally. I mean, I look at like myself. Alex has been doing photography for years, and I kind of like fell a little bit like ass backwards. Can I swear? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's fine. I fell a little bit ass backwards into this job, and so like I had like done a little bit of video, done a bit of design, graphic work, but I barely had picked up a camera a year and a half ago, and kind of just fell into this and just started realizing that I love it and I really like it. And so the pitfalls have been, so what I've really tried to do is just constantly create things. So I've, on my personal like Instagram feed, been doing like Insta stories, which we do for StoryTape as well. My buddy Jesse, who some of you might know, at Jesse Driftwood, he like does these really ridiculous over the top Instagram stories filmed with a DSLR.
He's the best.
He's amazing. And so I started doing a similar thing, because I'm like, Jesse's really great at this. This is and I'm not good at it. And it's a challenge for me to push into it and see if I can be. And I found like, this is something I like and something I can work at. And then the pitfalls and the downfalls have been like trying to make something look cool without actually doing anything. And I think that this is why StoryTape is so important, like, because in my mind, because story is so important. That's why we shoot in scenes. That's why we do what we do, because you can be a great cinematographer, you can take great videos and whatever, and not say anything, and no one will care. Where you look at someone like Casey Neistat, who's one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, and he's pretty trash with a camera. Like sometimes he does great, he can do really great stuff, but his YouTube channel is just, he doesn't care. Like he just does it, right? And the reason he can get away with that is because he's a very, very good storyteller. And so for me, the pitfalls have been trying to be cool and look cool and like do something neat without actually telling a story or doing anything meaningful.
I think there's been some like really practical pitfalls for us as well, like
Yes.
like something as simple as like forgetting a piece of gear.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it happened to Brandon and I once. We traveled a little bit to do a shoot with the drone, and we forgot a very important piece of gear, and so we had to go
The
back
card.
and get it. Yeah,
The
yeah,
right card.
we forgot the
You can't
hard
record
drive,
anything.
and so we went back and got it. We drove back up to our location and realized that one of our controllers was dead. And for our drone, it's super important to have two controllers because Brandon operates the aircraft and I operate the camera independently.
Oh, wow.
And so now we only had one controller,
Yeah.
and so just like very practical, like logistical things
Yeah.
like that you do it once,
Yeah.
and you learn from it. We
Yeah.
have never forgot the card again.
Yeah.
Our controllers have always been charged
Yeah.
since then, and so just kind of like non-consequential, practical stuff like that. Mistakes we've made along the way that have just become learning experiences. We've learned from them, and we're better people and better cinematographers for it. So.
Okay. Well, last little thing is, since we're actually, even what you're talking about Instagram and different things like that, it sort of just brought up something. What do you feel like? And I'll let you run with it.
Yeah.
What's one tip that perhaps I see a lot of people trying to become more influencers, influence marketers on Instagram and things like that. And I'm always sort of scrolling through to see what's working, see what's not working. And what do you feel as far as like one tip that you could perhaps give cinematographers or photographers? What do you feel like would be a good tip as far as for their own Instagram feed?
There's two things. The first thing is create things.
Yeah.
Just keep making things.
Post every
keep
day.
posting every day. Like I'm pushing that with myself right now,
Yeah.
where I'm trying to post photos now pretty much every day.
Yeah.
I'm not a photographer. I don't even really have a camera. I just use the GH5 for work, and I take pictures. And the GH5 is trash at pictures, and I
Yeah.
just try and do my best and just push myself to work with what I have and do something pretty much every day.
Yeah.
So it's like tip number one. And then my other tip, and this is maybe more of a personal thing, like when people are trying to be influencers and trying to be get big, I get that. I want that too. Like I want to, be bigger and more popular and want more people to see my stuff.
Yeah.
But it's kind of gross. So don't push it too far.
Yeah.
When people are just
Don't be
trying-
disingenuous.
Yeah, don't be disingenuous.
Yeah.
People, you can grow an audience and not be gross about it.
Yeah.
You can grow an audience and be legit and be a person who is normal and creating good stuff and not just I don't know. I get people all the time who are great photo, and I go and they're following 28,000 people, and I'm like, you don't give a crap about my photo.
Yeah.
It's disingenuous and gross.
Yeah.
And so be real and just do stuff.
Yeah,
Nice.
I would echo that as well. The most important thing is just create every day.
Yeah.
And post every day.
Yeah.
But I think especially for Instagram, and look, there's room to grow in areas that you're weak.
Yes.
I'm not saying in the areas that you're weak, don't pursue them at all. There's always room to grow in other things. But I think for every creative, and especially when it comes to a digital aesthetic on Instagram, there is a lane that you're in. There is an aesthetic, a style, a genre that each creative is very good at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say learn that about yourself, back to that self-awareness thing. Figure that out, what
Yeah.
you're good at, whether you do A/B testing, whether you try a bunch of things and see what performs best.
Yeah.
Or maybe you shoot with your camera and you find out what feels good to you, what you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Find that, hone in on it,
Yeah.
and target it and run with it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just do what you're good at,
Nice.
what feels good to you, what people interact with. And then start creating connections with people online, open your door, have your DMs open.
Yeah.
And DMs for us, that's why we're here today. Is
It's
because you
literally
guys
why we're
reach out
here.
to us on Instagram, or DM, right? So Brandon runs our DMs on Instagram, and I run the content for the most part.
Yeah.
And just having that door wide open
awesome.
to interact with people.
yeah.
Has just been incredible for us.
Yeah.
And that way you introduce that personal aspect into it. It's not just it's not just a photo, but there's a person behind that photo, and just remaining accessible.
Nice. Those are some great tips. That's I think that's something that I think that's great for a lot of I know a few that's trying to build their brand on Instagram, and
Yeah.
I see them posing in certain shots and things like that. And, you get your good and bad with that. But I'm always interested in the people that's telling sort of unique stories and they're out there just creating. They're just being themselves. They're not feeling like it has to be the perfect shot or anything like that. And they're just documenting the process instead of feeling like, okay, this is got to be the perfect angle, perfect shot and things like that. Like I said, I think there's a time for that, especially when you're working on your brand. But especially and it really depends on what channel that you're working with, especially with Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. You definitely want to be authentic. I think that's really the biggest thing, and really creating the story and creating the story of yourself. I think if people can connect with that, then I think your audience can grow, and as far as a lot of influence marketers, they're always looking for sponsorships and things like that. I think all that'd be the byproduct. Just just
don't go chasing that. If you're doing stuff that people care about, and you're getting better at it, and honestly, if you're liking it and enjoying it yourself, that should be your goal. And that stuff will come if you start doing really well.
Nice.
My buddy Jesse he just blew up on Instagram this past summer, and he was just doing it for himself, just liked doing it. And then his buddy featured him on his YouTube page. He didn't even ask for it, and just featured him, and then it just kind of went from there, right?
Wow. And it's changed his life.
Completely changed his life. He's in north of Winnipeg right now, filming with Mercedes-Benz on an ice track, just drifting around a frozen lake. Because of Instagram.
Wow. Well, other than that, how can organizations, companies, how can they reach out to you?
StoryTape.com as our website. You can browse through our whole catalog. You can see every clip that we have, over 7,000 clips now. So StoryTape.com, and then StoryTape on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Instagram is where Brandon posts our stories. It's his strength. He really is tremendous at it.
Nice.
Tells great stories. They're hilarious most of the time. Produced really well. So find us on Instagram. And our door's always open. We're always happy to hear from people and hang with people. It's so nice to meet you guys today. And
nice. Nice. Sounds great. Well, like I said, this is Brandon. This is Alex with StoryTape. Please check them out. From what I've seen, great work. And please check them out. You can find them on Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube,
and
Twitter. I think we got. It's there. We don't use it much. It's there.
So other than that, this has been the Creative Brew. Be great, stay inspired, and be creative.
Cheers.